Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ladies with Tradies, working the trade, living the life. I'm very pumped to have the amazing Kayla on with me today from Dopamine Co. I was introduced to Kayla by a mate of mine, Jake, who's also a business coach, and we catch up fairly regularly. And he was like, "You got to meet Kayla. You and her would just go nuts together." I'm like, "Cool. Let's do that." So here we are. We're now on a podcast together, and Kayla is an ADHD coach. So I'm going to let her tell you a bit more about her. But welcome, Kayla.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here. So yeah, I'm Kayla. Hello. You may pick up, I'm from New Zealand. The accent doesn't go away, but no, so I'm an ADHD coach. I am autistic ADHD myself, late diagnosed. So I will touch a bit on that later on. But yeah, my background is predominantly in construction. So I was commercial construction project manager for quite a few years and almost a decade in construction between Melbourne. And I moved back to Hawke's Bay, New Zealand about 6 years ago. It's just ticked over. Like many ADHD people, I have had a pretty colourful life and lots of careers. But yeah, I feel like this is kind of where I've landed, and it feels good. It feels good to be where I am right now.
Love that. Thank you. And so, yeah, obviously having that link back to construction is always helpful being here in our space at Ladies with Tradies. So it's probably safe to say that you get it. You've been exposed to many of us over the years. So that was another obviously fairly obvious reason that there was synergy that Jake identified as well. So, all right. So tell us a bit about, well, you know, how you landed here, but also what are people going through when they start to question or get diagnosed, or like what's going on for people, tradies or ladies, or give us a bit of what you see or what you know around how people land at, you know, I've got neurodivergence or whatever.
Yeah. Great question, because I think the education just was not there, I guess, when we were younger. And it really has changed a lot in the last few years. Knowing what I know now and looking back on, particularly in my time in construction, one of the things that really stands out to me is emotional dysregulation. So not being able to kind of control the moments and the cycles of shame that come with that. You know, that self-criticism, you know, where we are mean to ourselves. We can be quite high perfectionists. You know, we just push and push and push and push because our brains just do not stop, and we can end up in a bit of a cycle, right? So for me, that was my life. Like I kind of touched it. I jumped around a bit. Like I can joke quite easily that there's not many industries I have not worked in. And even in construction, I was there for 10, just on 10 years. I had so many different roles, and I worked from subcontractor to head contractor to developer, then back to subcontractor, then back to head contractor, and then back to developer, then back to a subcontractor. So I've seen the different, I guess, levels, you know, like regardless of whether you are the steel fixer on site, whether you are just the apprentice with the broom, or whether you're the one in the boardroom making the big decisions, right? There was a real common theme amongst a lot of them. And I think the trades in particular tends to attract neurodivergent people. And again, this is more looking back in hindsight with what I know now, because we were traditionally the people that, you know, perhaps didn't do that well in school, couldn't sit still, to create, like to build. You know, we think outside the box, we're problem solvers, right? Like all of those really strong qualities that in the right setting can be phenomenal. But if you're not in that right setting, it can really set you up for disaster. So I think burnout can be really a common thing that happens for particularly adults. Maybe they just in that cycle of like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Why can't I get my life together? So that's kind of one side of it, is that they just hit that breaking point. Something has to give. For me, you know, it was my own mental health. I had these battles with suicidal ideation and just kind of hit in these extreme lows. I knew I wasn't depressed, but I would just keep hitting this, but then the next day I'd be fine. So that was kind of a big alarm bell for me. And then the other one that's really common is that their kids get diagnosed.
Yeah.
And
I see a lot of that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
I can answer positively to a lot of these questions.
Yeah, they said they're like,
Yeah.
That's what I do, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's really common. If they see their kids struggling and they go,
Yeah,
yeah,
excellent. All right. So let me go back a couple of steps there because there's lots of juicy stuff as far as, how do people get to this place? Tell me a bit more about that emotional dysregulation when it comes to, say, our industry and how that might show up for people when they're, working the trade. Like what do you if people are listening to this, what are some of the things they could be watching out for, either for themselves or for a loved one?
yeah. I think the biggest learning curve for me, and I know for a lot of people with ADHD, is rejection sensitivity. So rejection sensitive dysphoria, commonly known as RSD. It's brutal. It is brutal, and it is a known part of the ADHD experience. So basically, what it is, it's for me and for a lot of people, it can show up as like a physical pain, like you've been stabbed in the chest, or like kick in the gut, or that stomach flipping feeling. Maybe it's like just that instant goosebumps or like quick to rage, right? And it could be triggered by something that was either real or perceived.
Yeah.
So it could be a rejection, a criticism. It could be someone just, looking you up and down. It could be someone's tone of voice. It could be, maybe they usually put a little X at the end of their text and it's a full stop. And they have a quick chat, and your brain goes to, oh my God, I'm fired. Like it's that like rapid
Mm.
from 0 to like 1,000 extreme emotion. And it's really, and that falls into like that not being able to regulate our emotions, right? Because generally what happens is when you look at, I'm going to use ADHD as an example here. And what it essentially is it's our executive functions. That's kind of what's playing up, right? That's our attention, being able to focus, the energy it takes to do all of that sort of stuff. We're exhausted
Yeah.
when you consider all of those things, just trying to pay attention in a meeting, say, and having all these people kind of yelling at you, and your memory just suddenly, like, you forget every word you've ever learned. So like you're on the spot constantly, right? And you look at construction where it's fast paced, it's critical deadlines, it's pressure, it's high stakes game, which we love.
Yeah.
We do really well at, but we're not great at kind of regulating and being like, oh, actually, that's a lot. I'm mentally, I'm cognitively tired, and we're not good at picking up on that. So that's when our emotions go, ha, right? And so, like,
Mhm.
I would see it so much, and I've been guilty of it too, but like, just the really big, uh, over the top reactions to something quite small.
Yeah.
Because you're really good with chaos, but oh my God, if that guy says one more fucking thing,
Yeah.
and it's for
It's
like,
just
oh,
the
you,
thing that puts the icing on the cake sometimes, isn't it?
yeah,
That there's been a whole lot of triggers along the way, or that burnout, or, you run, 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 run. And, that internal dialogue that is running the running, which is, if you don't do this, you're not good enough. Like, why can't you just get it done, you useless piece of shit? Like, all of this stuff
yeah,
is feeding that busyness and that burnout and your want to perform. And then you put on top of that, it's a people industry as well. It's not
yeah,
just a do shit industry. Yet we build stuff, but it's a combo of both build, like doing and being around
yeah,
people. And so then the rejection stakes go up because it's
huge,
like, and I've flipped my wig, and that can be silence, or I say we go silence or violence. We don't, not
yeah,
violence in its purest sense, but get big and loud or go to ground. And
yeah,
then it's the cycle just keeps perpetuating, because then you go into the shame spiral of, oh my God, why did I do that? Now nobody's going to want to work with me, or I'm going to lose that staff member, or I'm going to lose that contract. It's like,
yeah, yeah. And it's never ending. And I think you look at construction traditionally, it's a brutal industry. It has a lot of issues when it comes to well-being and mental health and the safety of its people. And I think when you add that there's likely a whole lot of undiagnosed neurodivergence fumbling around, just trying to do their best. They're self-medicating, maybe, they're using alcohol, they're using drugs, they're gambling, they're doing whatever they can to just keep their mind quiet, and like you said, like that inner critic is so loud. And then, add on that just life, family, kids, partners, like housing, all that sort of stuff. Like it can be a lot. It can be a lot.
yes, it's very, very noisy.
Yeah.
So what about, what can go wrong if you don't unpack some of these symptoms? Like, what have you seen? I mean, you've touched on a couple of your own experiences, but what have you seen people go through if they are shying away from it or they're not ready to unpack it? Like, what do you think's the result of that? Or what do you know the result of that is?
Burnout, number one.
What even is burnout? Let's go there, because I reckon a lot of us, until you've been there, would not even have a fucking clue what it means or what it is. It's this word that gets flung around, I reckon.
Yeah. So that's a really good question. There is a specific definition of it. I'm going to butcher it, but it's like when you basically just cannot do anything anymore, right? Like you're just at capacity. Burnout isn't just, oh, have a weekend off. Burnout can be months of recovery, like proper burnout, right? And when you look at it, it's a number of things generally, and that really pulls back to that psychosocial safety piece, right? Like when you are not clear on the task, there's a whole lot of maybe toxic workplace political hierarchy, like whatever it might be going on, like there's a lot of things that can really compound that, not just workload necessarily, right? Like there's a lot of other stuff. And so when you kind of get to that point, and that's when like you're just constantly sick, like your immune system's probably going to be the first to go. Your tolerance is going to just go out the window. So, like I said before, like you could just one day just suddenly everything is just too much or too loud and you're snapping, you're irritable, your ability to kind of just push through just isn't there anymore. Things that brought you joy, just you couldn't think of anything worse anymore. So then there's another level of like, oh God, like what's wrong with me? Like golfing was my thing and now I'm going to like spit tax if I see a fucking golf club. Like, so that there's a lot of things that can really compound to that. And when you add a neurodivergent burnout on top of that, so that could be, when I say neurodivergent, I'm talking ADHD, autism, OCD, dyslexia, all of those ones, right? Tourette's. You have that added thing of maybe it's workplace, life just getting on top of you. But like we mentioned before, like that inner critic, why can't you just do this? What's wrong with you? Like all my friends are buying houses and they're in loving relationships and I can't stick with anything, so it's just that whole nother level. And I think when you hit that, neurodivergent burnout, your body really says, no, like we're done, and like.
Hey guys, while I've got you, why not keep your eyes peeled for an email invite to the Ladies with Tradies Shindig, an in-person event in Wentworth on Feb 20th called Say It Like a Boss, Hard Chats Made Easy. And if you're not on our mailing list yet, why not head to ladieswithtradies.com and subscribe. See you there. Nailed it. So that was me February last year, and pretty much I'm like, oh my God, she's talking about me. And I didn't realize at the time that that's what it was. I wasn't necessarily sick. I was more mentally unwell than the physical sickness side of things, but my body was putting me to bed. Like I couldn't stay out of bed past like 2:00 in the arvo. I was medicated for depression and anxiety because we thought that that's what it was. I'd gained all this weight. I was short-fused. I was I'm not good at this anymore. I'm not good for this anymore. I'm hurting people. But then I was like, that also fit it was, but what's your effing problem? You've got no kids. You've got all the time in the world. You should be able to do this and just keep going. And I couldn't face it. And I literally had to tap out for months. So it's when you don't recognize what is happening to you. It's such a vicious thing to be, because you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Why can't I? Like, what is wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I could explain that so well because, I went through it too. It was months. It was months of like, what is wrong with me? And that was with the knowledge of having my diagnosis at that point too. I've got the answer, like, why can't I do this thing anymore? But it's because I was still just trying to square peg round hole it. I was still like, okay, well, that's that. Let's just carry on. It's like, no, actually, I can't. Like, and I use it a lot with a lot of my coaching clients. Is like that whole analogy of like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you kind of see that, oh, I am wired differently, I do experience the world differently, it's hard to go back. That then there can be grief that comes with that. There can be a sadness and anger. And so it's a whole nother way.
Yeah.
No
And
one tells you about that.
yeah, that's it. And
Mm.
I don't think that goes away for a while. I haven't landed
Yeah.
that at that place yet. Like, I think the gift that it's given for me in, psychiatry and unpacking it all is moving further towards acceptance than anything. But you still do have that moment of, oh gosh, imagine what could have been if I known
Yeah.
I had, I'm always on the optimistic side, better late than never. And some of the people that might be listening might be going click, click, click. There's all these things
Yeah.
for them from a symptoms perspective that maybe, it might be worth reaching out to somebody and having a bit of a chat. But so let's talk a bit to the you sort of were mentioning in there. I think the question I want to ask is around leaning into it, right? Like, if so there's the negative side of not unpacking it, but what if we went, this is a gift, I'm going to lean in and I'm going to use the different quirky parts of who I am for better, and I'm going to,
Mhm.
like, what can happen then when people just fully get into that mode?
One of the best analogies I've ever heard, and I can use it because I am wearing glasses right now,
Mm.
is if you need glasses, why go without them? Because you are going to be squinting, you're going to get headaches, you're always going to struggle to see, right? If there is a way to see better, why wouldn't you do it? And I think the same concept goes with, well, actually, my brain does work a bit differently. So how's about I work with it? How's about I give my brain some glasses and let it see for the first time?
And how much is it like that?
And it is, and it literally is. You're like, oh my gosh, no wonder I fucking struggled in that setting or as that version of me. And there's a term that's used a lot with masking, right? And I think anyone who even suspects that they might have ADHD or autism will know this feeling. And it's that you see it often with kids, right? Like kids are probably the best example to use, is that you hear a lot of parents being like, oh, like my kid just comes home and they just explode, big emotions and tantrums. And then the school are like, what? There's nothing wrong. They're fine. Because all day long, that kid is like, right, mask on, I'm going to be normal. And it's just that constant effort to like not be too much, too loud, too intense. And we learn it at school, right? So then when you take it into workplaces, I mean, how many times would you have been told, oh, just, sit down, take a seat, like, there's nothing to do with you, don't take it personally. All of those little comments that are like, you're too much, you need to sit down. Like, and so when you do get home, you're exhausted. You're like, oh my God, and it falls apart and you snap at your partner, maybe you're grumpy to your kids or like whatever it might be. And like, that's masking.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
that weight of that mask is,
Yeah.
I think the more
And
you go and the
it's
more
so,
you,
and the different ways that we do it. Like, I don't think Jace will mind me saying, my husband, he's just going through the process now. And so I've been through it all and still, in the first sort of 12 months of it all. But I've said to Jace before, babe, it's like everybody out there gets the best version of you and I get the dregs. I get the shitty version. And then he's like, well, same could go for you. Like, you show up and you're all peachy and up and about and you've got everything for everyone. And then I get the shit version of you. And it's because of that exact thing. It's like when you're with the people that you love the most, the mask comes off and then
yeah,
they see the real version. Now, I'm the loud and yelly, like outrageous one, whereas Jace, when he's been masking, he's just like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, I've got nothing.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
I'm like, because I've been subduing myself all day. I'm like, give me attention, make it about me and all of that. Whereas he's just like, don't come near me, I can't talk to anybody. And he'll
yeah.
go inward. So it's interesting how it plays for different people.
Absolutely. And it is a spectrum, right? Like even
Mm.
ADHD is a spectrum. No two people with ADHD are going to be the same. You get the different presentations of it. So there's inattentive, hyperactive kind. I think the science is leaning more towards the fact that everybody is combined,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
the hyperactivity is up here. Like, so there's that. And then there's, the different ways that executive functions impact you. I know some people are anxiously early to everything. I'm chronically late.
I switched. I used to be anxiously early. Now I'm like chronically late.
Yeah, and like it depends what it is, right? If it's something
Yeah.
I'm really interested and really passionate about, oh my God, I'll be there with bells on. If it's something I couldn't really care about, good luck. And I've just kind of learned to accept that. I have horrendous time blindness. Like time just goes and disappears. And so I really struggle with like forward thinking and planning because I really struggle to literally see time. And for a really long time, I just thought that meant that I was going to die young. Like I was like, I can't picture my future because I just could not plan.
Mhm.
I could not think ahead.
Yeah.
Um, I have horrendous memory, working memory. So I can remember things from like when I was a kid or like, you know, the other day I was listening to Good Charlotte are coming next
Yeah.
year and I got tickets to go and I was like, "Heck yeah." I was like, oh, I'm gonna chuck some Good Charlotte on. I haven't listened to this album in like 20 years, probably. I could remember every
Yep.
single word. I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what happened at the start of this conversation. Like it's already gone because
Same.
that is my working memory. That is my like the fresh stuff, right? Like if I don't deal with it then and there, then I'll forget. And like I thought I was getting early onset dementia, like dead scared. I was
Yeah.
like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with
You know,
me?
you'll say something to someone and they'll go, "Oh, but you said we were going to do it like this," and it's like, "Okay, sorry, that was this morning's version of me. Now I think this." It's
Yeah,
which
yeah.
can be really, really challenging when you're working with
Oh,
people too, because it's
so challenging.
and that's where I think for if I reflect on some of the challenges I see in tradies, a lot of whom are not diagnosed, the fellas that we work with. And since going through it with for myself, I'm like, whoa, now I see what's going on here. It's that it can feel for the people that we work with that, yeah, which version am I going to get or what story am I going to get or what is
What
if
excuse are the
yeah, or yeah, like what's the plan of attack right now, and at what time of day is that plan going to change because they've either been triggered by an emotion or by a different deadline or been asked by somebody and who they don't want to be rejected by. Whew, working under that person, not
yeah.
easy.
No, and and I think like to pull it to the like the cliche of ADHD, we get distracted easy. We seek distraction. That is where our brains are like, oh, shiny new thing. Oh, shiny new thing. Like so we really struggle to like see things through. Or we do something really hard out, like 95% of the way, then we're like, oh, what next?
My book went 95% finished for 2 years.
Yeah. The last five
That's
cents
it.
the hardest.
What is wrong with you, girl? Like, it's because,
Yeah.
look, and that's when there's a whole other layer of things that stop you from
Yeah.
finishing.
And that's for starters, dopamine's run out, right? And then the rejection sensitivity creeps in of like, oh, this isn't going to be good enough. Like, who's even going to look at this?
Exactly.
Like all that layer, like that self sabotage starts to really creep in. And then the working memory thing, you literally just go on to the next thing. And then someone's like, how's your book going on? You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, oops, like totally forgot that existed. If something's not in front of you, we struggle to see it. And that can happen to people too. Like if someone's not in your vicinity and in your bubble, you can forget they exist
Yeah.
and you feel awful.
Yep, I feel you. So leaning into what's good about it. So I think a lot of, and you're a coach too, the thing that I think naturally always done pretty well is to support people to work to strengths, right? Rather than going, why can't I? It's leaning into the elements of how people behave and using them rather than abusing self for them.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a different version of use and abuse, isn't it? It's like use it instead of abusing yourself about it.
Yeah.
So how do people get to a place where they're doing that? Like, is that part of how you work with people, or what is it? What? How do you get there?
Yeah. So ADHD coaching in particular is strengths based. It's completely strengths based. It is like there's no shame, there's no judgment. It's just let's look at initially what would happen is say you have a first consult or coaching with someone. The first session or two tend to be quite educational. It tends to be a little bit like, all right, let's pull out where it's showing up for you. Unpack your understanding of your own neurodivergence. Because you'd be surprised at how many people go get the diagnosis and you're not given any information. Like you're just not. it's so poor considering you pay thousands of dollars to get the diagnosis in most cases. You're literally sent off with a prescription and nothing else. So a lot of people, unless they kind of go down their own little rabbit holes, you really are left to figure it out yourself, right? So a lot of the coaching, especially the first couple of sessions, can really be like, right, these are executive functions.
Where are you at?
Yeah. Let's get a gauge of like what's going on, what you're struggling with. And overarching theme is that self-criticism. Like, I'm just so stupid. I'm such a failure. I'm an idiot, blah, 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 right? So there's a lot to kind of unpack around that side of things around being like, well, hang on, there'll be some things that you're extraordinarily good at. And you always, every time I say that to someone, it doesn't matter who they are, there'll always be a little like smirk or something like, oh, yeah. And it's like, cool, what are those things? And they'll be fucking random, some of them.
Yeah.
But they're like, I love a spreadsheet or something. Like there'll be something that they are just time disappears when they do that thing. Right? And like you see, like that we are really good empaths that pick up on people's emotions and stuff like that. So we tend to be the people that people are drawn to because we tend to be pretty fun and like spontaneous.
And like we already know you when we've only met you 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we don't do
How do you know that
talk.
about me? Yeah.
We don't really do small talk. We do like childhood trauma. We just have that life story, and then you're like, oh, why did I say that? And that really opens up the door to other people to be like, oh my gosh, I can trust this person, right? Like, so it can be really, it's totally strengths related. It's right. How can we help you to work with your brain? Because when you keep going against the grain, you're gonna keep struggling. And I think there's a bit of misconception around there with coaching is that it's all about trying to fix you and like trying to get you more productive and have these productivity lists and these hacks and stuff like that. It's like, oh,
fucking bin. No.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work for you, don't do it.
Yeah, it's like don't try keep flogging a dead horse. Like let's try and work with what's going to work with you. Let's make it interesting because we have interest-based nervous systems. Like if people are listening to that and they take one thing away from that, it's that we are interest-based. We are not importance-based. So that is why we always struggle with like workplaces in particular or, taxes or like life admin and all that kind of boring stuff because it's boring. And like someone's special interest could be taxes.
Yeah, I know.
Like
thank God for those people, because that's not.
Yeah, not me either. But it's about like right, like let's find what your special interests are because they'll be there. Let's really build a life that's going to work around that. Let's take away all that shame, all that judgment of like, take health, well-being, exercise, for example. Like I've been paying for a gym membership since January. I think I've been 3 times.
Yeah.
Because it's not fun. I haven't found the right like kind of workout mode or the right kind of accountability, right? I've just signed up to a little program that I know it's like, oh, it's exciting. That's a challenge. I'm going to go. And I know I'll go and I'll do it bloody well, but I know it won't last because I know that in maybe 2-3 months I'll get bored. Yeah. So what has changed now is that I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm in my yoga season.
Yep.
Yeah. So that got boring. I'm not going to try and keep doing the same thing. Maybe I need to literally change gym. Maybe I need a new environment of a new gym. Maybe I need to take a friend with me. Maybe I try Optimus yachting or something. Like maybe it's that random thing you've always wanted, just something, right? And taking away that shame of like, oh God, I'm so useless. Why couldn't I do the gym? Just be like, oh yeah, I got bored.
And God, how much money do you save too when you lean into it instead of going like, I'm going to be that person now. That's who I am now. And you're like, no, you're not. Like, you're not going to be that person. Don't do long-term things if you've never done long-term things.
No. And like, there'll be like, again, using my own example, I've been doing hot yoga for about 6 years off and on. And I come and go from it. But that is the longest commitment I've ever made in life. Like, seriously. Aside from my dog, who's also 6. But like, that has only stuck around because I've come and I've gone from it. I've come and I've gone from it because I've been like, okay, now it's getting boring. Let's try something else. And then when that gets boring, I go back. And like, and just leaning into it. And like, the reason I like hot yoga, I can't do normal yoga. Normal yoga is so boring. But hot yoga, the heat, the intensity, it's where my brain just goes like it's quiet. So I find it really regulating. Boxing, things like that, that like those things that you do that you just feel that inner calm. And
Yeah.
any ADHD brain will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Think
Just
that's where,
drawing.
like, if we sort of switch into the mindset of business ownership now for a sec, this is the thing that I see the shame spiral happen the most with, and I've been through it myself, with our tradie business owners, whether it be lady or tradie. It's like the people who are just like, they're showing up to their coaching session each week and saying, I haven't done the thing, I haven't done the thing, I haven't done the thing. And I
Mhm.
just go, guess what? Safe to say you're not going to do that thing. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, no, no, I will. I'm like, no, you fucking won't. Like, you actually will not fucking do the thing. This is awesome because what you're procrastinating on is the exact thing that we need to put a process in for, or automate or delegate to somebody else, because
Yeah.
you ain't it. And
Yeah.
that thing there is going to kill your business. Can we just agree that that's how it is? And you should see
Mm.
the relief that comes over them when it's like this permission.
Mission, yeah.
Nah, man, you're not going to fucking ever do that. Why are we
Yeah.
trying? Like, why don't, like, just keep molding it. It is yours. Keep
Yeah.
molding it around who you are instead of trying, like you said before, square peg, round hole doesn't work. So
Yeah.
let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I do with coaching as well, and someone's like, oh, I didn't do it. It's like, cool. Like, why? Like, get really, gritty on it. But like, what was the block? Is it that you feel like, like what was holding you back? And I think any kind of coaching, like a real good coach would do that, to be like, well, what, like, I'm not just going to make you do it again. I'm not going to just, oh, let's tweak this. It's like, no, there's a reason why you didn't do it. Like, sometimes life just gets in the way, like, right, like that could just be the case. But when you look at ADHD, it's really like, right, there's no interest.
Yeah.
How do we make it interesting? How
Yeah.
can we try and like
Mhm.
fake some interest? And that could be something as simple, like, I mean, I've got little timers. It's got a little like unicorn thing that goes around. Like suddenly I'm like, oh, visual, because I can't see time. And it's like, it makes it a challenge, right? It could be putting music on to do something with it, because music gets me activated. Music is the dopamine hit that I need to get started. Yeah, there's all sorts of things that you can kind of try. And and if those don't work, then it's like, right, yeah, let's get rid of that.
Let's move
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenging thing for people, because, we talk about, say, 6 pillars of business. There are going to be some of those that you're just not interested in or good at or passionate about, and we can't be all things to all people anyway. So it's just going,
Yeah.
well, let's just lean into the areas that you're most talented at and that you love and that you don't need forcing into doing.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to be, you're going to resent your business. And so many people come to us full of resentment, and they're like, the business is starting to turn to shit. And it's a lot of the time because they're trying to do stuff that they actually don't want to be doing. Like
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
lost their way and they're doing a whole lot of what they think they should be doing in
Mhm.
our industry rather than more of what they want to be doing.
Yeah. And I think, like, to put an ADHD lens on that as well, like, we are really good at getting overwhelmed.
Drama.
So, and if something like we have really good, that's where I want to get to, but I've got no idea what step one is. And so we get really in a tiz. You get really worked up because, and then you start to avoid it because you literally don't know what step one is. And you just like that overwhelm turns you to, they call like task paralysis, where you literally just shut down and then you're just like stuck on the couch doom scrolling, being like, I need to do this thing, I need to do this thing. It's like, but I don't know how to do the thing. Like, I literally don't know what step one is. And as soon as you can find out what that step one is, and like, it's normally something really small, you're like, and then you do that one little small thing, and that's a hit of dopamine, and then it builds and builds and builds, and that momentum. But until we find that like really clear, and that's why like I really lean into AI for that sort of stuff, to be like, right, this is the end goal. What's step one?
Especially
Down for me.
I've said to clients, use the coach in your pocket, which is ChatGPT or whatever. Dump your thoughts in there and ask it what you need. And I've had clients come forward me their whole chat and go, look at what I've been working on. I'm like, yeah, Cool.
Yeah. I always, whenever I do that, I'd be like, I'll ask it for, give me some easy wins. Start with some easy wins. And like, they could be as simple as, open up a new document. It's small, like it's get a blank page of paper or something and put this at the
That's
headline.
right. Yeah.
Like
Stuff.
really small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's that productivity hack. I don't know if you've heard it, but eat green frog.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
all
right.
about like doing the big thing, but like fuck that for ADHD. Like that is the worst advice you can give to
No,
ADHD.
I know. Shocking.
Do the little fun things.
That's right. Find the little low-hanging fruit first.
Yeah, get those out of the way.
Beautiful. All right. So conscious of time, because, we're doing our thing. How do, we've talked a lot about the results that people have once they tap in. Like really, we've talked a fair bit through some of the examples of that. One thing I want to just touch on briefly, because I think it's one of those things that is still a little bit interesting out there is, what's your take on medication versus, say, coaching versus, any kind of treatment, I guess, for neurodivergence and benefits, burdens, like thoughts?
So, yeah, full transparency, I am medicated. I have been for about 18 months. But, it's a privilege. That's the sad state of things, is that getting a diagnosis is a privilege. It is a lot of money. And, and I really struggle, and I see it so much when I see people who, the meds are going to fix me. They're the magic pill. Everything's going to get so much better after that. And like, yeah, you'll be able to focus a bit better. You might be able to, like, the noise might calm down a bit, but at the end of the day, like, it's one small piece of the puzzle. And I think there's two things you can do that are far more effective than any medication. And I know a lot of people that agree with me on this one. Number one, and people are going to hate this, but
Exercise. I know. I keep saying the days I exercise, I'm like, holy shit, how good am I on an
yeah,
exercise day versus a non-exercise day?
yeah. And like, people get, oh God, exercise means going to the gym and having a personal trainer and oh, it's this really hard thing. No, it's
I'm
movement.
walking for 30 minutes. That's it.
Dance, like jumping jacks, fidgeting. I've had this in my hand the whole time. Like movement, moving your body is the number one thing. And I think, people forget that the H in ADHD is hyperactivity, right? That's got to go somewhere. If you're stuck in your desk at the office and you're not getting out and about and getting fresh air, like you're gonna explode. Like I liken it to like that skin crawling kind of you're just restless. Like that is that's your body being like, move, bitch.
Love it. Love it. So
And
exercise number one. What's number two?
exercise number one. Number two is learn about it.
Yeah.
Hands down, just there's so much free advice out there. There's YouTube, podcasts, there's books. Learn about the executive functions, like how they show up, like what they are. Just a quick run through. We've got getting activated, you've got focus, effort, emotion, memory, and actions like impulsivity, right? Like learning those different areas. And I'm a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Learning about RSD, rejection sensitivity, like, oh, that's a big one. And then again, like, those other little things as well, like we've kind of touched on a little bit, like social justice, oppositional defiance disorder, like pathological demand avoidance, like having someone say, hey, can you take the bins out? As you're literally about to take the bins out, you're suddenly going to like, fuck, I'm not doing the bins. Like, those little weird, lesser known traits of neurodivergence. If you can learn about them, do, and then reflect of like, oh, I do that. And then just learn those really basic skills to kind of check in and be like, oh, and I use the Pulse HB framework. So like whenever the ADHD is just like ADHD, you're scattered, you're having like 10 new business ideas before you've had your coffee, like you're, snapping at everybody, whatever it might be, is just stop. Be like, okay, something's happening. Maybe you're triggered by your rejection.
Got a bit on.
Yeah, like just literally just stop and like put whatever you're doing down. Maybe it's step outside. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Hormonal? Bored? And like they're all kind of umbrella terms, right? Maybe I'm not hungry, maybe I'm thirsty. Maybe I'm not angry, maybe I'm frustrated. Maybe, I'm not lonely because I'm surrounded by people, but they're not my people. And I'm tired. Yeah, actually, I've been sleeping like shit all week. Like, of course I'm going to be off, this is a stressful situation. Like, no wonder I'm off, right? Hormonal, like men have hormones too, right? Like ADHD just rides that wave. So, like, so if you're in that, like, that
Oh,
1 month
wow.
of that 1 week of the month where you're just, like, a bit off,
For some of us, entering a certain age, it's 2 weeks.
yeah, menopause, puberty, birth, all of those things, right, add to it, so it just goes
Yeah.
on top of it. And then bored, you might not just be having a bored afternoon or a bored day, but you could be bored with your life. You could be
Mhm.
bored with your relationship. You could be bored with your friendship. You could be bored with your job. So it's like getting that deeper understanding of like, "Oh, okay, this is actually what's going on." That pause, just
Mm.
that check-in of like, "Hang on, do I just need a snack?" And then, like, just that acknowledgement and that pause to be like, "Oh, okay, that's why I'm a bit off," and then do what you can to kind of, like I said, before, is it exercise? Is it sleeping? Is it food? Is it connection with people? Like, do
Yeah.
what you can to
So
kind
good.
of
I love that.
mitigate that. Yeah. And like that works for
Brilliant.
like the big emotional regulation, like all that sort of stuff. Takes
So
practice.
good. Oh, there's the gold right there. Love it. It's all
Yeah.
been gold. Thank you so much, Kayla. So we
Okay.
will make sure we put your contact details in because
Yeah.
there's been lots of great stuff in there. A nice high energy podcast for people to be listening to on the job site or in the car. So that's been really, really awesome. I suppose apart from that little acronym there, which was absolutely amazing, any last parting wisdom for the listeners?
Yeah, I think don't be afraid of it. There's so much stigma around it. People calling it a trend, people, just jumping on the bandwagon. If you identify with any of those traits or anything I've talked about, no one else can tell you if you don't. Like if you recognize that in yourself, there are things you can do without the diagnosis, without the label, or anything, that you can learn to manage it. And that is by learning about it, doing the basics, keeping on top of the movement, the nutrition, the sleep, like there are so many things you can do. So yeah, don't be scared of it. It's
Yeah.
because when we understand ourselves, when we stop being so critical to ourselves, and when we move to that level of like acceptance, like we're fucking unstoppable. I think we've got some extraordinary, like, bet your bottom dollar that the person that invented the wheel was ADHD as fuck, right?
100%. Absolutely. That is it.
Like
So
we are here to like,
do some seriously cool shit.
yeah, do some
Yeah.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. That has been I feel like I've had my own little therapy session today. So thanks for that.
Good.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Dopamine and Co. And then on socials at ADHD Coach Kayla, Kayla. Hit Kayla up. If any of this has resonated with you, obviously come through us at Ladies with Tradies. We'd love to have a chat with you and see how we can just keep, elevating the awesome is what I say about this stuff. You are your own unique brand of you. Nobody else
Mhm.
can be you. Dr. Seuss said something like that, I'm sure. And so
Yeah.
lean into it. Like you
Yeah.
said, like don't be afraid of it. Accept it as it is, and you will 100% be unstoppable. So thanks,
Yeah.
guys. We'll be, reach out if there's anything we can give you as a hand with. I'm clearly running out of my dopamine after 55 minutes of chat. Cheers, guys. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.